get into this layout. So I am working in my me, myself, and I insert, which I was influenced and inspired by Hiba. But her prompts, I don't like the order or like, all of them. So I'm just changing up some of them as I go, and I might make a new prompt list after I'm done. So what the story I want to tell with this one is kind of like where I live, but where I'm from story. If you don't know, I'm originally from New York, the Bronx, in fact, and I've been slowly coming down the East Coast, and I live in Florida now for the last almost 20 years. So I've lived half my life in Florida and half my life in New York at this point. I am 40 years old, and it's a good story to tell because it's kind of goes along to understanding like why I always like to be warmer rather than cold and why I always feel cold. I've been running away from winter and New York for my whole life. So that's the story I'm telling. And right now I am using my L Studio Jane Alpha. This is the classic one. And then I have Catherine Pooler ink in suede shoes, which I have to say might be my new favorite color. It's like the perfect blue for me. I just love blue and pink. So you see me wiping off because now I have the little like Lawn Fawn chamois, and yes, it gets on my hands, but my stamps stay cleaner than not doing this process. So that's what you see me doing. So I wanted to have like this whole like Florida blue sky moment, and I didn't want to print like an 8x10 and only use a sliver. So what I did was photo collage the same photo on two 3x4, so two photos on one 4x6 photo. And then just, I think I printed it twice only because I ruined one set of it. So that's not part of the process, but it kind of creates this Florida blue sky. So all I did was print it with the palm tree in the photo, and then I cropped it with the palm tree out. And that's how I got like this whole like, column of the sky there. And that's part of the reason why I love living in Florida. It's just that it's kind of, easy weather year round, all the time, and that is just sort of perfect for me and what I like to do in life. So on the opposite side, I do have a few of these ampersands. These are from a Allie Edwards Stories by the Month kit. It was just called and it came with multiple versions of ampersands in felt pieces, acetate, stickers. There was a big like wood veneer piece as well. For this layout, I definitely went with the smaller embellishments and kept them both like mint green so that I didn't add an extra color. And so on one side of the column, I put everything what I love about living in Florida. And I printed out like a little Florida state picture. And then also my love for New York, or things that I left behind, things I miss, but things that I don't miss as well. Okay, for this next layout, I'm changing the prompt once again. Not to say changing, I just feel like there are certain stories I want to tell first as a like a get to know me kind of journal. And so I'm trying to write about my occupation. I'm actually a chiropractor, so I've used the silhouette to cut out my letters because I didn't have any stamp that was this particular size in order to have the word fit across perfectly. Some of them were too big, so then I would have to go on a second line. Some of them were just way too small, so the perfect alpha stamp I did not have, so I used the Cricut, I have a silhouette to cut it out. So what I'm thinking of doing is just having this down, writing out the word occupation with stamps, and then I think I'll type out on some vellum like the definition of what what a chiropractor does, and then just kind of basically have my journaling on the bottom as to how I got to school, how school went, what's work been like. And then on this side, this was in a like mail, something in mail. I think it's to get on like an insurance plan. Anyway, I just love this photo, and I have held it. It's on like copy paper, so it's not that big, thick of a paper. Because doing it by hands is the art form of chiropractic. So I've always saved it in order to do something with it, and this kind of seems like the perfect opportunity. So I'm going to cut this out and layer up. This was just a selfie I did recently, because we own our own practice now, and kind of have it something like that. And I feel like in this spot, I think I'll cut it right there. And in this spot, I'll put like our two business cards and have them like flip over, just so that it'll have like our logo and our names and stuff. And keep this side simple, and then have a lot of text on that side. So let's get started. So all I'm going to do at first is take the time to glue down all of these letters. Now, I was really apprehensive to use liquid adhesive only because sometimes it will start to kind of warp the paper itself. And so that didn't happen. I made sure to do a really thin, even application, and that worked out quite well for this portion. After that, I'm going to take my mini Jane Alpha from L Studio and stamp out with Twilight from Catherine Pooler the word just occupation. And I made sure to draw a straight line with my T-square ruler to get that looking as straight as possible for this. And I love the contrast between gray and the blue of the word chiropractor for this particular portion as well. Then I'm going to start working on the journaling aspects. So I did still print it on vellum. I'm so glad I brought a pack of vellum. I brought it for December Daily, but I've been using it a ton for all of my journaling here. I just like the effect that it gives. So like I said, I did print out the definition of a chiropractor and then kind of my journaling on how I became one. Seems to be a very long story, but actually, these are actual stories that if I really looked at it, unless I wrote it down right now, like Valentino or anyone else really wouldn't know the story on how I became a chiropractor because I was working in an entirely different field, my first job out of college, but then I went back to school. So it's a good story. Anyway, so here I am, and I wanted the cluster. I have two of our business cards from the office, so both of ours together actually line up perfectly to fit the height of 4 inches for my photo, so I just made it into a square. And then I either was like, should I put a gap or should I have everything clustered together? And I decided I wanted the phrase just work hard next to us or beneath us. And so I printed it out on the same colored cardstock with the silhouette, with that font. I do believe it's called Coach, or it might be called Academy. I can't remember what the silhouette calls it because the font is just a different word than it is in my Microsoft Pages app. But I loved having the same font and color on both pages to make them link up. And then just to add a little bit more of a decorative element, I added that floral washi to the top bottom of this left side, and you'll see me off camera. I'll add it to the right side in that blank spot above the word chiropractor to make them both join. And I just love the way both of these turned out. And then I add a few stickers from the Happy Planner. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me for these layouts. I hope you are enjoying this series with me, myself, and I. This page came together great. I hope you found inspiration for yourself to tell a prompt about where you're from if it's different than where you are living currently. So I love the comparison story that I did here and saving space with not printing like an 8x10, but just kind of a few of the same picture to get kind of the idea of my Florida blue skies. Then for this one on my occupation, I loved using, this font was called Coach, I think. Is it Coach or is it Academy Coach? Something like that, in which at least now these two pages tie in together because it's the same font on the same cardstock. And I did add a few more kind of like tiny word stickers around here so that it made them cohesive, as well as adding the washi tape up at the top here. Again, love the way this turned out. It's a good way to kind of document what you do in life right now. And this story can go positive or negative, just depending on where you are in life. So I definitely encourage you to document your occupation that you're at right now. And you can tell there's a lot of text right here. I made it super small in order to fit it all in because the story on how I got here is in detailed here. So I'm excited that I have these extra spreads now in my book. And still, join me. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Give this video a thumbs up. That way I know you're enjoying the content I'm providing. And I will do another 2 layouts in this book this week. That way there'll be another video the following week. And maybe that's a good formula for me. 2 layouts every week. And then I'll also have like my stories for my daughter and then my memory keeping. And that should be a nice rotation. Even though I will say I am working on some foundation pages for my December Daily. So I will be posting those 2 kind of like 3 at a time, because since they're foundation pages for me, just means I have the framework and the idea. So it's really like idea sharing, which can be beneficial too if you're doing December Daily this year. And I will be having December Daily videos too. So that'll be put into the mix as well, where I'll show you a couple days in one video in order to stay on top of that project as well. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Till next